Johnny Depp is a disappointing actor.
Oh my god.
Oh yeah, I just went there. No holds barred. Now let me explain to you why that is. I honestly have nothing against him personally, and from what I've heard, he's actually a very kind and compassionate person. But as an actor, it's not that he can't act, far from it. It's that he stopped acting. When he started out, he chose to take on truly bizarre roles, giving them humanity and a certain je ne sais quoi characteristic that drew audiences to his characters. But all that changed when...
I've asked you there, mate. Is this the place where they be filming Pirates of the Caribbean 5?
Johnny Depp?
Are you referring to me? Because if you are, you're referring to the wrong person.
Then who the hell are you?
Isn't it obvious? Captain Jack Sparrow.
No, you're an incredibly talented actor who can't stop acting like Jack Sparrow.
Ah, you got it backwards there, mate. See, I am the actor acting like the character who's acting like the actor, thereby making the character more like the actor and the actor more like the character. Savvy?
Whatever, you're just making my point now.
And what point would that be?
That your Jack Sparrow role is taking over every other role that you do. It's even pervading your real life.
On the contrary, gentlemen, I have portrayed many more characters than you give me credit for over recent years.
In what movies?
Alice in Wonderland.
That was Jack Sparrow. He was a schizophrenic who quit drinking rum cold turkey.
Lone Ranger, I was Tonto.
Senile Jack Sparrow.
Charlie in the Chocolate Factory.
Jack Sparrow, if no one liked him, and he was high as a kite.
Honestly, gentlemen, honestly, is there a movie of mine that you can honestly not pass judgment on?
I don't know, it'd probably have to be one I haven't seen, like Rango or Dark Shadows.
That's the one! Dark Shadows! Dark Shadows!
Okay, I may not have seen it, but it's post-Pirates of the Caribbean, so I'm sure.
But if you've never seen it, then how do you know I'm playing Jack Sparrow? Aye?
That's actually a legit point.
Exactly. Now if you'll excuse me, I'm off to mug elsewhere. But this is the day that you will always remember as the day that you were made wrong by Captain Jack Sparrow.
Well, I guess it isn't fair to pass judgment on an actor's entire career without seeing the evidence, so let's take a look at Dark Shadows. Well, what a surprise. The movie opens with the typical Tim Burton color palette, gray and ashy gray, as we are told about Barnabas Collins' father, who came to America to build a fishing empire. Really? An entire empire based solely on fishing? In New England. Okay, yeah, I'm not going to even bother questioning his logic, or that of the dozens of competitors he must have there. We then meet Barnabas himself, played by Johnny Depp.
Let me hear you say I love you, Angelique. I want you.
You would be hearing a lie.
Well, at least he's honest enough not to lead her on. It's not like she'll harbor a grudge for being taken advantage of, or she's a homicidal witch who doesn't take rejection well. That's pretty typical. Don't tell me that none of your ex-girlfriends tried to kill your parents with a seahorse statue because you broke up with them.
Convinced my parents' death was no accident, I became obsessed with dark magic.
Lo, above the gates of hell, he found a single letter, Mephistopheles.
Wow, he's definitely jumping on the blame witchcraft for my troubles bandwagon very early. Why not blame the builders first about not building a sturdy statue before jumping off your rocker?
Not all was darkness, for I had found my one true love. Of all the servants I could have spurned, all the hearts I could have broken, I got the one with the secret. I got the witch.
Now let me get this straight. You have an ex-lover who you broke up with and she didn't want to break up with you, and you give her a job as a servant in the place where you live. Isn't that just rubbing salt in the wounds of your former love? Apparently so, since she casts a curse on Barnabas to make any woman he falls in love with die. Okay, that's not the end. Even though it looks like it could be. Instead, Barnabas gets up and, spontaneously, without any explanation, turns into a vampire.
It happens.
Granted, the witch might have raised him from the dead, but there's no explanation for how one becomes a vampire. Do you have to kill yourself after your dearly beloved commits suicide? Then why are there no other vampires running around? Do you have to read books about Satan first? Explain your mythology, movie! I'm trying to understand!
What have you done?
Okay, so, Johnny Depp is a vampire now. Kind of hard to tell because he's just as pale as he always was, but okay! The town rises up against him and they bury him alive while Angelique watches. So, 7 minutes into the movie and we've already had enough exposition to make up an entire other movie. But it's okay, it's okay. Because now the film is just going to take a small jump into the future to the year 1972, a mere 200 years after the present scenes. I guess nothing important happened in that time. I mean, just a civil war, a couple of world wars, the start of the Vietnam War, but that's all minor. So I guess this is our main character, this girl who we've never seen before. Turns out her name is Maggie, even though she says it's Victoria, and she's headed to the Collins mansion for a governess job.
I'm Victoria Winters.
Congratulations.
I'm here to see Miss Stoddard about the governess position.
Because, yeah, she definitely looks old enough to be a governess. She's just been out of high school for, what, 3 days?
Who's that?
Barnabas. His name was Barnabas Collins.
She meets the owner of the mansion, a still beautiful and imposing Michelle Pfeiffer. She leads Victoria to a side room to interview her for the position.
There are just a few questions, if you don't mind.
Of course.
How do you feel about the president?
Never met him.
That's never stopped others from having feelings about him.
The war?
I don't watch television.
Did you also never learn to read a newspaper?
Do you think the sexes should be equal?
Heavens, no. Men would become unmanageable.
I think we'll get along just fine, Miss Winters.
Yes, I think you're perfect for the job. I mean, you've evaded half my questions, and you made a joke about the other, but I got a good feeling about you. Seriously, what kind of a job interview is that? I mean, by that logic, anybody could get a job! Just a few more questions for you before you start working with the grammar policeiticians, Mr. Jackson. Do you believe that all grammar rules are set in stone?
I thought that stone writing was obsolete when we developed English grammar.
That is true, that is true. Do you dot every I and cross every T?
Yes, except when I do not.
And do you ever use contractions in your sentences?
Actually, I once contracted a bad sentence. An apostrophe made it better.
A very funny grammar pun. I think we're going to get on very well. Victoria is then introduced to the rest of the household. Caroline, who seems to be on a plane of existence extremely high above everybody else's. Michelle Pfeiffer's brother Roger, a drunk doctor played by Helena Bonham Carter, and Charlie Brown out for Halloween.
David, this is Vicky. She's going to be your new governess.
Actually, this is David, the kid she's supposed to teach. And you can tell there's something not quite right about him, even considering that his mother drowned 3 years ago.
Just gonna scare you. Are you scared?
Terrified beyond belief.
Ooh, he's almost as creepy as a little hellspawn from The Omen. Seriously, is that supposed to be a charming moment after a childish prank? Or is it maybe something more sinister? Nightmare-inducing. I can't even bring myself to care that his mother is dead.
She didn't die. She can't.
David believes his mother has some kind of, cyclical immortality.
I feel her. She talks to me all the time.
Oh yeah, he's definitely okay. Definitely, yeah, he's okay. Is this meant to be a horror movie? Huh. It's supposed to be a horror and a comedy. And this kid fits right in. Victoria prepares to settle in, but David is apparently not done being creepy.
David, you startled me. Getting ready for Halloween.
Let's try your reaction again. A scary ghost appears in front of you. Your response is, "Ah!" Okay, let's do it. Well, just forget it. The ghost does a suicide fall from the chandelier and disappears into the floor. I guess the afterlife was not everything that she was promised. But elsewhere at a construction site, several workers have hit something.
We hit something.
Oh wait, I forgot, no one reacts with fear in this movie. Oh look, a murderous psychopathic vampire murdering all of us.
I am terribly sorry. Cannot imagine how thirsty I am.
Well, that was dark. Guess we're in a typical monster movie now. Or we're just gonna dip our toe into horror while we sit on the banks of comedy. That works too. Anyway, let's go ahead and get the montage of fish out of water scenes done now.
Curious terrain.
Actually, to the movie's credit, this isn't done too badly. The whole fish out of water thing is not dwelled on too much. I mean, in all truth, it's actually handled pretty well with just a few sight gags here and there. It could have been a lot longer than 2 minutes. Well done. Barnabas arrives at his old family house and comes across the drunk groundskeeper.
Look into my eyes. Tell me, the Collins family, do they endure? You will take me to these living Collinses you speak of.
And then we shall see if they will, indeed, still be living. Barnabas enters the mansion and is confronted by Michelle Pfeiffer.
I am Barnabas Collins, and I give you my word of honor. Neither you nor any under this roof need fear my accursed nature.
Oh, yeah, I totally believe that. I totally believe that's not gonna happen. So let's file this scene away for later, for when he does go psychopathic crazy monster on their asses. He leads her into the secret room, leaving no reflection in the mirrors. Because, yeah, that's a standard in a vampire movie. See? If even Tim Burton can get it right, why can't you? And he shows her the hidden wealth of the Collins family.
Promise me that all of this, will remain our secret.
Ooh. Is she perhaps related to the witch from the beginning? I mean, there's this sort of evil presence about her. So maybe her plan is to take the Collins' wealth and use it to destroy the rest of the family, right?
This is our distant relative, Barnabas Collins. The third.
Eventually, right? We'll find out.
Hi.
Enchanted.
I give you all 3 guesses as to who the romantic interests are in this movie. I mean, I don't know. Go ahead. Actually, take a guess. Take a guess. Okay, well, while that would be interesting, not really. Go ahead. They're, a little young, aren't they? Okay, for those of you who aren't just teasing and screwing with me, you obviously know that it's Bert and I's Bella with the vampire guy, and pat yourselves on the back. The rest of you? Shame on you. Oh, we seem to have ended a car commercial here. I don't even know how that happened.
Feeling on top of the world? Do you like being the center of attention because you have the only splash of color in the Tim Burton world? Then a 1970 Plymouth Barracuda is the car for you. Barracudas, bringing color back to your drab world.
Actually, this is Angelique, played by Eva Green, and she's the witch from earlier. And I don't mean it's just the same actress, I mean she's the witch from earlier. Which means I was wrong about Pfeiffer. In Barnabas' absence, she actually took over the entire town and created a monopoly in the fishing cannery business. Somehow that fits into a story about vampires and ghosts. I don't really see how we're supposed to care about that, but if one of you understands, go ahead and explain it to me. While inspecting the plant, she hears about the construction workers who were murdered the night before.
Some maniac ripped their throats out.
A word with Barnabas Collins, please.
Alright. Time to exact a little blood-sucking vengeance on her for... or you could do that. I guess there's no hurry. I mean, you're both immortal, apparently, so...
You killed the woman I love, and cursed me to be this hideous creature. I shall have you tried for witchcraft and burnt at the stake.
Do you really think anyone would believe a word you said? I've been an upstanding member of this community for 200 years, in one form or another.
Okay, here's my question, because I'm really trying to piece together this mythology. How long do witches live? I mean, are they ageless? Can they not ever die or look old? I mean, she's been around for 200 plus years and... What? What's that? I should just ignore that and forget about it and just watch? Okay. Okay.
Your name may have changed, but you remain the succubus of Satan, harlot of the devil. Olga!
A legitimate vampire movie! Vampires don't sparkle in sunlight, they burn! Someone got it right post-Twilight!
Welcome back to the shadows, Barnabas Collins. I've missed you.
The feeling's not mutual, honey. But the encounter does revive Barnabas' desire to restore the Collins fortunes, and he proceeds to have the mansion and the cannery repaired in a long, drawn-out montage. However, the whole time that this is going on, another question pops into my mind that I'm sure all of you are also wondering. What's Vicky doing during all this? Since the movie clearly followed her for a good several minutes on her way to the mansion and focused on her while she was there, you'd assume she's the main character, right? Well, clearly I was wondering that. But no, she's apparently so important that she doesn't even make an appearance on the box. I mean it! Look! She's nowhere to be found. Nowhere! The goddamn doctor makes the cut, but the governess we watched for about 15 minutes? Nope, not her. Not even honorable mention on the back. I have a theory. She received the same treatment as Charlie on Revolution. I mean, the movie was supposed to be about her, but then what happened was another character who came on set, in this case Johnny Depp, was a lot more charismatic and everyone gravitated more towards him. So she got pushed off to the side and more forgotten, and the focus shifted onto him entirely. Let us all have a moment of silence and pity for this poor actress's demotion. Meanwhile, the doctor, after finally sobering up enough, finally discovers that the reason he's paler than every other character in the movie is that he's
a vampire!
Which means that she's even slower to pick it up than Bella. Which, in and of itself, is rather sad. But instead of getting rid of him, she decides to study him, which gives Barnabas a chance to speak to Caroline about...
I simply seek advice on the art of courting a woman of this time.
Okay, that makes sense, even though you are a vampire and no one else is like you. But then the conversation turns weird when he offers his own advice.
You must put those birthing hips to good use at once, lest your womb shrivel up and die.
I don't think anyone even back then spoke like that. I mean, birthing hips? How would that go over?
And now it is time for Fabrizio's old-time dating tips. Dating tip number 1. Always offer a compliment.
Hey. Hi. You have the most fertile birthing hips I've ever seen.
We'll be back with more surefire wins once we figure out what went wrong.
But in all seriousness, Barnabas is obviously interested in Vicky. But why? I mean, they've only been on screen twice together.
She has the most fertile birthing hips.
Okay, stop with the birthing hips! Quickly realizing that helping him is beyond her abilities, Caroline instead directs him to meet with some hippies. After listening to them for about 3 minutes, Barnabas comes to a strange realization.
But I must now kill all of you.
What's that, man? Kill us? Deep, man. This is the main character we're supposed to like, right? I mean, why did he murder them? There was no cause, there was no reason, that was just senseless murder. I'm sorry, I just can't get behind something that's so mean-spirited and cruel and has absolutely... Hey, for the record, they kept spawning and coming after me. So, after that dark turn, we see Barnabas with the doctor, who has an idea that switching out his vampire blood with human blood may make him human.
This isn't exactly the kind of thing they teach in medical school.
Oh, but we do know how to work with the
Dr. Blando? I hoped that I thought that you were dead.
Oh, but no, I'm not. But your concern, it has touched me here on the heart.
What do you want?
I just wanted to let you know that this sort of thing is exactly what we have learned in medical school. Pretty much any monster situation, the whole problem comes from the blood, and it can all be solved with a whole and total medical blood transfusion. See.
But in the case of Frankenstein's monster, it was the brain that was bad.
No, really, if you did some further analysis, see, the situation, then you would see that it is actually the blood that is the cause of everything wrong, because the blood circulates throughout the entire body. But if you watch the doctor work here, you will see, and well, there it will be.
Barnabas, are you aware of the concept of doctor-to-patient confidentiality?
No.
That was unexpected.
I'm just gonna put you on hold and finish the review.
Okay then. I guess I.
Meanwhile, Barnabas's meddling has gotten the attention of his dearly behated Angelique, and she arranges a meeting to ask him to sell his company to her.
Give me one good reason why I should not kill you this instant.
We can either fight until one of us is dead, or we can make little fish together.
Mrs. Robinson, you're trying to seduce me.
Even Aphrodite herself could not construct a more odious union.
I'll take everything you love, starting with a little creature you've been eyeing so fondly.
Well, I guess that's as good a reason as any to have sex. Burton, did you discover some deep, dark sexual fantasies you'd repressed and you needed to act upon? Because, this is clearly reenacting the Twilight sex scene that came out a year before this movie. I mean it! Look! He's not even trying to be different. The scene plays out like some bad Twilight fan fiction. I mean, the room is getting destroyed. We have a vampire man and a non-vampire woman who has a snake tongue.
It happens.
Tell me this isn't a chapter out of 50 Shades of Grey. Wait a minute. Grey is Burton's predominant color. Does that mean E.L. James is Burton's pen name?
That was a regrettable turn of events.
Well, now that we've established that Depp's character has a fetish for a Twilight-inspired sex, he decides it's time to show his family's power by staging
a ball.
Balls are demonstrations of power.
Exactly what I've been saying. This family could use some balls.
Oh, thank you. Thank you, Burton. Thank you for such childish innuendos. That just made my day right there.
And the Collins family have always held the biggest and the most...
That was sarcasm. Stop it!
People don't throw balls anymore, stupid.
Do they not?
They throw happenings.
Thank you, kid. God, at least one of you is mature.
And how, pray, does one throw a happening?
Well, first you get a one-hit wonder director, add a respectable actor who's too talented to be in your movies, blend it together, and then you let audiences and critics tear apart the result. Following Caroline's advice, Barnabas does put together a happening for the town, even getting to entertain the masses. Shock rock musician Alice Cooper. I don't even have anything to say to that. Except it seems fitting. But the focus quickly shifts to Victoria and Barnabas, in probably their fourth interaction on screen, and they express their love to each other. I guess witches are just made of porcelain, and when their heart gets broken, they start showing cracks? So Angelique gets a crack across her face.
It happens.
But we ignore that so Barnabas can seek out his doctor.
I have urgent need to be human again. My God, you're using my blood to make yourself immortal.
Oh God. Blando!
Oh, yes, I saw that, yes. Most disturbing indeed. I feel foolish now.
You should! I hope this puts to rest any more medieval theories you have about blood being what turns a monster into an evil creature.
Yes, I agree. I guess I may have to revisit my old theories, see, and my notes, and analyze these situations more carefully, see, and there it is.
There it is. What a complete waste of time.
I do not forgive.
So he drinks her dry and drops her at the bottom of the ocean because, hey, I guess it's been a few weeks, so he totally forgot about his promise that
Neither you nor any under this roof need fear my accursed nature.
But she's not the only one to get the bite me treatment, as Barnabas catches David's father trying to find the hidden cache of wealth.
What are you? I'm Batman. I'm going to give you a choice. Either you devote your every waking moment to becoming an exemplary father, or you leave.
Well, when you put it that way, let's go to Chuck E. Cheese, David! Bring a ghost! So the father leaves. What a jerk. And what relevance does this have on the rest of the story? Meanwhile, Barnabas returns to Angelique and asks to be released from his curse.
I demand that you release me from my curse.
I'm gonna offer you a business proposal, Barnabas. To rule this little pawn of mine side by side. Partners and lovers.
You may strategically place your wonderful lips upon my posterior and kiss it repeatedly.
You don't speak to your blackmailer that way. She has all the power and you have nothing. There, you see? She takes Barnabas captive, stops to destroy the Collins cannery, and abandons her adversary at the cemetery, but not before presenting him one last humiliation. You really have some sexual issues, don't you, Burton? Luckily, David happens to be hanging out at the cemetery. Hey, considering most of his friends are ghosts, I'm not surprised he hangs out there. I'd be more surprised if later in life he didn't change his name to Dampe. And David sets Barnabas free, but Angelique has already turned the town against them.
She'll find the corpses of more of his innocent victims in there.
In the cannery? What, where his other victims fish?
Willie, what on earth's happened?
Fire! Murder! Angry mob! Run!
Sounds like my typical Thursday.
You've been harboring a murderer.
I shall go willingly to whatever punishment awaits. Provided this Bouchard goes along with me.
Perhaps it's best we are both destroyed.
She's a witch.
Okay, again! I'm trying to understand, why are witches made of glass? It makes no sense. I mean, why would... None of you really care about this, do you? You just want this movie to be done, right? Okay, let's get this done then. So Barnabas's bite turns her into a hammy actress with a broken neck.
It happens.
As we enter the climax.
None of this would have happened if you just loved me.
I should have destroyed you.
So the powers of Satan gives you the power to shoot green vomit in a projectile stream at your opponents? Somebody explain it to me, because I think Burton's making up these rules as he goes.
Get out of my room!
Why does she look scary?
Angelique!
Okay, Michelle Pfeiffer with a gun is pretty badass. I'll give you that one, Burton. I'll give you that. You know, Barnabas, you can finish her off now while she's moving more robotically than a dead, lifeless voodoo puppet. Otherwise, she's just going to... So, the paintings come to life and start laughing.
It happens.
And then the statues come to life.
It happens.
They attack Pfeiffer while Barnabas finally attacks Angelique.
I worshipped you.
Plagued me.
Adored you!
Despised you.
You know, my boredom with this fight scene that makes no sense is warring with my confusion. Oh, it's exciting and stuff.
Carolyn, my God.
I think my confusion's winning the war now.
I'm a werewolf, okay? Let's not make a big deal out of it.
Okay. So, she's a dog.
Woof.
Yeah, so... Caroline is in fact a werewolf.
What a twist!
Okay. Here are some of the many things that are wrong with this. 1. What the hell? 2. Where did you ever indicate earlier in the movie that she was a bloody werewolf? 3. Their oh-so simple explanation that they offered just now is...
I sent the werewolf who bit Carolyn in her crib.
4th, what werewolf? 5th, when were you ever going to tell us that she was bitten by a werewolf? 6th, why? And 7th, is Burton just making this up as he goes?
Alright, read it back to me, Jimmy.
We have Caroline dropping out of the hole in the roof and saying, I'm a werewolf. Let's not make a big deal out of it.
Add a wolf after that. I think it'll add character.
Let's not make a big deal out of it. Wolf. Alright, what next?
Hold on, let me consult my creative vision.
The
witch should say that she was the one who murdered David's mother.
Wait a minute, David's mother was dead?
She drowned long ago. It was so sad. It was mentioned once or twice.
Oh, I forgot. But David and Victoria can see her?
No. The ghost that Victoria was seeing was actually Johnny Depp's first love, and she was murdered 200 years ago. Actually, that's just all that matters on that point. In the case of this epic climax, see, David summons his mother's ghost now, see, and when he summons her ghost, then she uses a supersonic scream, which knocks the witch flying into the chandelier, thus saving the entire...
Wait a minute. How do we know the ghost did that if nobody but David can see her?
Well, everyone can see her now. It's totally okay.
Tim, your vision is not very consistent.
Question my vision!
Do note that this is for satirical purposes only. I am reasonably sure Tim Burton was not on drugs when he worked on this, and I'm sure he's a good person, even if this climax is a big jumbled mess.
So, after that Deus Ex Lupina, let's recap. Caroline is a werewolf.
It happens.
And David's ghost mother appears to save the day.
It happens.
If there's just one more thing in this movie that doesn't make sense, I swear to God. But Barnabas realizes that Victoria is still under Angelique's spell to kill herself and needs to be saved. And he realizes this because... David's mother told David?
She said put us hill.
Why didn't she just tell Barnabas herself since everyone can see her now? So he rushes to Widow's Hill to stop her.
I live in the light, Barnabas. You live in the shadows. I'll grow old and die, and you'll live forever.
And that sounds like Bella's argument in the Twilight saga. Are you sure this isn't a Twilight fanfiction? Anyway, she jumps off the cliff and he follows and bites her, and they both crash against the rocks below.
Victoria. My sweet Victoria.
Should have better sooner. I mean, it probably takes a while for the venom to work, and it probably also needs to be done on a live body, and...
Josette.
What? By biting Victoria and having her die, the ghost of his first love, Josette, is able to take over the corpse?
No, this is too much, man. I'm sorry, this is too much. There's suspension of disbelief, but this is take suspension of disbelief out behind the barn and put it out of its misery. You know what? I'm done. No more. No, done.
Well, great. Well done, movie. Well done. You've pushed me to the verge of insanity. Well done. Not since King Kong have I felt this irritated. All you have to do to push me over the edge into total craziness is all you have to do is just show some unbelievable scenes. Something really unbelievable, like... That makes no sense! I know the credits are right there around the corner, but I don't care! This needs to be talked about! The doctor's blood was drained entirely out of her. She shouldn't be able to reawaken as an immortal vampire because she has no blood. And if she turns into a vampire, why not the hippies? The construction workers, why not them? He killed all of them and drank their blood. Why don't we have a bunch of demonic hellspawn vampires running around the countryside?
Do not question my vision!
I'm not questioning it, I'm saying it. This movie should be ashamed of itself! I'm not against the comedic horror, but by God, this was bad! Really bad! The lack of logic and consistency is enough to drive someone insane! The plot is so laughable, I'm amazed the producers got past the cliched premise. I don't know if this movie follows the old TV show it's based on, I don't even know if it comes close! And then there's the whole debacle about the characters. There are so many missed opportunities. I mean, we have David who can see ghosts, and then, okay, what are we going to do with that? Oh, we'll just use it as a Deus Ex Machina at the end. Oh, well, we got this kid Victoria who he's going to fall in love with. Well, we'll just make sure that she's around for a while, and then we'll just forget about her because she's not really important. And then there's Roger. What the hell was up with Roger? We didn't need Roger in the movie. He did absolutely nothing. This movie, maybe it was trying to attach everything that was from the old TV show to the movie, but they didn't do it well. It needed to be done right, so that way it wasn't just fluff and needless information that we had to process. However, there are some points in its favor. First off, it was entertaining. Even though I'm raging against it, I was entertained and laughed at it. Secondly, this actually was not just another Johnny Depp as Jack Sparrow movie. He actually did do something more along the lines of Sweeney Todd. And third, this is still a more legit vampire movie than Twilight. They at least used the traditional vampire concepts instead of dumping glitter on them and giving them horrendous special effects. Although there were quite a few Twilight references that were unerringly similar. Now, given all that, does it make it good? Of course not! Well, it was fun. That said though, I am done! No more vampire! I have met my vampire quota for the year! I didn't even know we had that, but I met it! There's only so much I can take! I don't care if someone revives Bela Lugosi to reprise his classic Dracula role, I've had it! If I have to review one more vampire flick, I swear, let God smite me with his thundering lightning! Thank you for watching. Cheerio and...
It happens.